Hey y'all. Okay, so let's keep it all the way 100. These are not the easiest things to do, these videos that I'm supposed to do. So sometimes it's a struggle and it's a pull on me to actually, shed light on my past. However, though, I realized something. The harder it is for me to do it is the reason why I'm supposed to do it. So this challenge came up over the last week or so about what a woman would do for the D. Yeah, that part. In those challenges, it was so ironic, but it was already knowing, I already knew that it was going to be so. How it hit me, and it should have hit y'all too, some of the things that we do for the D that we don't even have to do. So that brought some light and said to me, go ahead and finish telling your story. So let me tell you guys about my story. I've already brought you back on chapter 1 and chapter 2, and if you didn't read those, if you didn't listen to those, pull them up, check them out. But in this chapter, it is so crazy. Like I said, that challenge of what you would do for the D. So some of the things that I was doing was losing my self-esteem, losing my confidence. Like I said, putting my all into a situation where there was no return for me. And as I look back over those things, I can recall that being in it, I was lost. But while I was going through it, I was actually learning something. I was actually gaining something. I was actually in it because there was a purpose. But I didn't know what the purpose was at the time. So I get into college and I'm yearning and craving this boy, okay? And this boy is away doing his thing in college. And I'm just sitting up here like constantly running up my phone bill. You know what I'm saying? A bill I can't pay. Okay, because I don't have a job while I'm in college. Financial aid, right? So I'm losing my mind, my emotions, my hormones, my sex drive. The person that I used to be able to be with all the time, I could no longer touch or see. So it was like then their life became very busy. You know what I'm saying? Then I would make the trips up there to go visit the person. And all of a sudden, all the pictures that used to be on the walls are no longer on the walls. All the pictures of us being a couple that we took back in the day is no longer a part of the current today situation. So I'm like asking them questions like, why my pictures aren't up? Why isn't anything represented that you have a relationship? Duh. Why would he represent having a relationship when it's all this candy in front of him? All the Skittles. All the 31 flavors of the ice cream. Why are you supposed to be the number one pick? Because it's me, Shanae, right? No. So I was just a little discouraged and I was like, this don't make no sense. So I got pictures of, our past all in my dorm. I'm representing that I'm in a relationship. But see, that's one thing that some people don't realize. A man will hide that he's in a relationship. Well, a woman won't. A woman will put it in your face and the guy will still take the bait of us. The guy will still do us. The guy will still say things to us. The guy will be like, well, I just want to be your friend. See, the guy is scandalous and a dog. They don't really care that we're in a relationship. They just want what they want. But a man, they tend to hide their situation. They tend to want to cover it up and act like it don't exist. They tend to want to sit up here in front and everything like, they not real up forward in front like we are. But we can still get what we want by being honest, but them, they'll rather lie to get what they need. So I'm sitting up here like, dang, this ain't right no more. Like, it kind of ruined the trip of me visiting him because, I'm emotional. I'm looking for something that represents he's still claiming me or he's still holding on to something special between us. Yeah, he was holding on to something special between us, but it was only when I arrived. It was only when I popped up. But when I'm not around, out of sight, out of mind. Out of sight, out of mind. The less than the phone calls begin to be. See, I became to become a distance in his mind. But when he came back home, I became to be that go-to person. And I was allowing myself to be the yo-yo. I was in a relationship that was like a yo-yo. It was up and down, up and down. What do you make for something like that? How do you keep your self-esteem in something like that? How do you keep your confidence level in something like that? I began to manipulate and play with my own mind. I began to say, he's still thinking of you. He still cares about you. I began to paint a picture. I began to paint the picture that I wanted to see in order for me to cope and deal in the relationship. And then what happened? I built up a facade of fake. And I could no longer see what the truth was. Because now I've been dealing with a little bit of verbal abuse. I've been dealing with the control situation. I've been dealing with manipulation. I've been dealing with condescending, always speaking down to me and speaking at me, you know. So it was just like, there were so many cycles, so many different patterns that I didn't even recognize was going on. It was like a turmoil. You understand what I'm saying? I want you ladies out here to look up, even men, I want you guys to look up the cycle of abuse. The cycle of abuse was brought to my attention that I needed to look it up. Now, all the time that I was in my relationship, I never dealt with anything psychological or sociological. I never went to any terminologies or anything like that. I just simply was going through the motions, you know, just an emotional breakdown every so often, trying to figure out what was wrong with me, trying to figure out why me, trying to understand how come the other person gets more attention or what makes them better than me. Yeah, we're talking about the easy and simple stages of a relationship at 18 years old. You know, I was in college at 17, and then I turned 18. You know, the same for the other party. So it's just kind of like, you don't really know better. You don't really know better. And you don't know how to do better. And then what comes after that? I brand myself. I brand myself with a name. Yeah, I brand myself with a name. And then when I visit this person, I show them, hey, look what I did. I love you for life. And they looked at me and they were impressed, but they wasn't impressed. And they was impressed and they wasn't impressed, and they were shocked. They said it was pretty. They said it looked nice and everything. And it was just kind of like, I think I was shocking this person by my maturity and by the things that I was doing and how far I was taking it. And I think it kind of put them in a position where it just kind of was like, you know, this is too much for me. And I think I overwhelmed them. And by overwhelming them, I think it got to the point where they kind of froze because they didn't know how to communicate with me that it was either going too fast or they were only in it for the fun. It was as if they didn't want to hurt my feelings because they do love me, but they wanted to do what they wanted to do at the same time. So I'm a young girl, fell hard for somebody. And in return, the person fell hard for me, but they know how to put me to the side and still live the life they want to live while they're in college. I missed my college experiences. I missed that. I didn't get the total experience that I should have got because I was living in a fantasy and I was protecting a relationship that should have been dissolved. A relationship that should no longer exist. We should have part ways and they should have did their thing and I should have did my thing as I look back. But I wasn't strong enough to do that. And all I know is I kept getting the signs and the red flags. And I kept getting the signs and the red flags. And as I think back, it was like I had the perfect opportunity to leave in peace or allow them to leave in peace. But there was this drawing of something that just kept drawing me back in. It was a soul tie. I had a soul tie that was connected, that was demonic, that was toxic to a boy who dealt with abuse in a private household that never shared the abuse to me. But I was abused by an abuser who was also abused. Let me run that back by you. The behavior was top.